It's pretty bad. You don't think it's bad?
This is Forge the Narrative.
Hey everybody, welcome to Forge the Narrative. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. We are joined tonight by Red Powell and Adam Camilleri.
Hello.
Hello.
And Tanya Gates.
Hi, everybody.
This is Forge the Narrative, we're the Battle Lost Souls podcast. Happy New Year. By the time you're hearing this, I think we were going to cross over into 2021, leaving 2020 in the rear view.
Oh man, can we bury it? Can we salt the earth and never return again?
It's like a dog when they walk away after they're done doing their business. They just kick the feet up and just never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Brother, get the flamer. The heavy flamer.
So this has been a challenging year for folks, and I really want to thank everyone who has stuck with us and basically allowed us to stick with you, welcoming us into your ears each and every week. And it's been fun. And I know that the routine of this is something that I've really looked forward to week on week, and it's helped kind of to keep things normal, for me at least.
I think routine is super duper important when everything else seems to be sort of going crazy. For me, routine keeps me sane.
Me too. Yeah, this has been a big part of my, I don't know if people relate to this, but I had a good 4 months of being pretty down in the dumps. Just literal isolation, no one to talk to, not really much. And you guys, hopefully, and hope people at home can relate to this. But yeah, this bit of consistency, this little bit of putting out some positive energy or trying my best to make sure I put out some positive energy every week. It's been really good for me.
Yeah, indeed. I want to talk about the Las Vegas Nopen coming up the last weekend in January. So January was the 29th through the 31st. We're going to be putting on a live stream event. And I say event. This is going to be something that I don't believe has been attempted in the past, at least to this scale. And I say scale. We're going to have a competition, a friendly competition, completely exhibition type games from 16 lists that you would have likely seen at the Las Vegas Open that has been canceled for this year, to go through a bracket played by different pilots over the life of the stream until we crown one list as the winner.
Yeah, this is causing a lot of confusion out there. People are not quite sure what's going on. But think of it like this. This is essentially a 16-player RTT, but it's not 16-player, it's 16 list. The players don't progress through the event. The lists do. The players don't. So you might have one streamer or well-known tournament player playing a list one day, and then the next day someone else is playing it. So it's really interesting. It's actually going to be really keen to see how people transition through armies they might not be that familiar with and how they make them go. And we're not saying this is a replacement for the LBO. This is like, hey, we have the opportunity to hopefully put something great out there at the end of the season, end of the year, instead of nothing. And hopefully it's going to be something everyone enjoys.
I think it'll be fun. Again, seeing these different streamers, and these are all people in their own bubbles, where we're going to not be breaking anybody out in any unsafe or non-social distance situations. So these are people that are existing in their current bubbles that they've gotten through this situation with, that will be putting on these stream games that we're going to connect through basically 3 days of content streaming.
And don't worry, it won't be me and Paul doing it. We're just the happy smiles and faces. There's far more competent people sticking this all together.
When you play in the, we'll be talking about it. That's for sure. We'll be
absolutely.
Some of the pilots, the architects of the list, and some of the top players around the world, people that you would see in a competition playing well, or on their streams, that you like their streams, and you can find a full list of the people that are participating at the Las Vegas Nopen, NOPEN.net.
Best name.
Schedules. I think we'll publish a list. We'll publish how to get brackets. We're also going to have some merch. This is a charity event. All profits from the merchandise are going to a charity. This is people that have been working on the front line globally. This is, all that information is going to be there on the website. I know a lot of people like to get t-shirts for this type of event. You can get them worldwide. We're going to put them up for sale. I think by the time you hear this, I will include the link to the Armor Class 10 website. That's our partner for the t-shirts and stuff. We're going to have t-shirts, hats, and a couple of different styles of hoodies.
This has all been pulled together on kind of ridiculous short notice. So if
In the
we
last
are
2
missing
days.
anything, yeah, literally last. Well, I think it's only the last 6 days or so.
Yeah.
So it's only about a week old, this concept. So it is amazing what we can do as a community when we decide to pull together. But yeah, keep your eyes out. This thing's only going to get bigger and bigger as we go.
Yeah, and so again, we're not going to. I mean, the streams, their own things that we're going to be linking together all through the thing that we're producing, and then all the profits from the merch is going directly to charity, and I think that's fun. So it's kind of a worthwhile event. And look, even if you can't get any merch, come check us out over the course of that weekend. It's going to be fun to see how we put all this together.
Mm.
I mean, I can't help but chuckle. I mean, I know we're going to do it, but I think seeing how we do it is going to be fun. Links will be in the show notes. More to come about that. We will continue to talk about that leading up to the event. You'll have some guest spots come in. Myself and Adam will be doing a lot of the primary commentary. We're going to be checking in on stuff and, of course, the personalities and stuff from the streamers. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Same here, baby. Can't freaking wait.
So I want to, again, we're not really going to do at least, it might turn into one, but a true year in review. But I wanted to kind of like nominate Model of the Year, something that's come out within 2020 that is what we consider to be the best model. And look, I ask everyone to come up with an idea. We don't know what those ideas are. So if we have duplicates, then that's just the way it shake out randomly. I don't know who wants to go first. Who wants to go first to nominate what they think is the model of the year for 2020 from Games Workshop?
I mean, I'll go first.
All right.
My model of the year is Ragnar Blackmane, and it's just because the improvement from the old model to the new model is like night and day. Like that old model was just so bad.
Bad strong, but the new one's way better.
So
it's
old.
way better. It's pretty bad. You don't think it's bad?
But it's pretty old. It's a really old model.
I mean, I get that. It was time for him to get a facelift, and I think that they did a really good job on it. And he's one of my favorite characters, so I really like that one.
That's good. I mean, you can't deny the fact that this the way they he's very dynamic. He's aggressively posed, and you can. I mean, he looks like a leader. He's
right.
leading. He's charging in, leading from the front, and I mean I think that's what you expect from that. And the last model. Back then, there was only so much depth they could get on a mold. Like Eldrad and I think some of the other Phoenix Lords and like Blackmane, I think they were all made from like just a single 2-part mold that you had to kind of make flat. But I think they got a lot out of that. I don't know if that was a Jess Goodwin figure back in the day or not. Certainly looks like it would have been.
I mean, it was. I mean, for the time, it was amazing. It's just, it was pretty dated.
Extremely dated, yeah.
Yeah, the new one is just like dynamic, and I love it. I'm looking at it on my shelf right now. I like it. He's my bae.
No, yeah. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out that listens when we were going through talking about how Space Wolves had like 1,000 characters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know who was complaining about that, but I think it's pretty obvious.
Red, how dare you?
Dang
it. But the Space Wolves are one of the oldest chapters that had their own set aside, what we might consider a codex now rules.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those characters, I think, came out of like a White Dwarf or whatever, made it into a codex. And they've had a more amount of years than almost any other chapter to accumulate those characters. I'm not justifying the fact that they have a ton. I mean, other than the fact that a lot of the Space Wolf character is in the Space Wolves themselves, like each in every one of those models having some type of heroic destiny.
I mean, I feel like the Space Wolves are all about the sagas, right? Like that's what drives them, is like someday there'll be a saga written about me. And because of that, it sort of makes them all have that drive to become that like heroic, well-known character,
Ragnar Blackmane made his first debut back in the dim distant days of Rogue Trader, from what this website is saying.
Gee.
And designed by Jess Goodwin. So there we go. I mean, it looks like it. I mean, he is a master even back then.
Is there a year on when he came out?
It isn't, but if it was in Rogue Trader, that's, late 80s?
Yeah, really early 90s, late 80s.
All right. So, I mean, I am older then, but not by much.
Well, I'm just saying that model, the fact that it looks as good as it did was a testament to particular sculptor
For sure.
back in the day. And so, but there's no denying that the new one is freaking amazing. I mean, that's true, man. Yeah, a very good submission. Red, you got an idea for one?
I mean, I feel like mine's kind of like a dead giveaway. And I know I think the fact that you struggled with it, Paul, I think that's actually what helped sink it in for me. The Silent King, man. Like, how do you not say that was the best model to come out this year?
That's strong.
Look at it, man. I mean,
Silent King's on
what other
level.
Primarch-like model came out this year?
Gasco?
No. Doesn't really compare, unfortunately.
No, the Silent King, it's like I mean, at its heart, more than one model. But yeah, I mean, that certainly counts.
That's where I'm at. I'm sorry.
It's so epic. I mean, think about it. The fact that we have so many different like model painters and artists have attacked that model in so many different ways, and they all look good. And that's a testament to how cool the model is.
Yeah, for grandeur stakes, it's hard to argue with Red, but I'm gonna.
Well, I think it's.
I know you're gonna.
I think the Silent King's a canvas. I mean, it is like it comes with some. I mean, of course, great details and just the sheer heft and magnitude of it for sure. But yeah, it counts. Yeah, good submission there, Adam. Did you have some in mind?
I do and I don't.
Okay, I'll say what mine is.
I'm throwing AOS a bone in mine.
Okay.
The Super Gargant, the Mega Gargants, the Sons of Behemat, the 3 Titan-sized giants they put out.
They made my short list. Yeah, they made my short list.
Incredible. I can't pick one though, and I think this is why I'm such a. I said please let me go last because I was trying to look at all 3 of them and be like no. I think it's the War Stomper though. And if I had to pick one, it's probably the War Stomper.
What makes that one better?
Although the Kraken Eater holding like a cudgel made of cannons and stuff is pretty cool. I just think the War Stomper's got a better head. That's literally all it's come down to. I just like this guy's got a better head, and the head's the thing I'm going to look at the most when I play with it. So going with that one. Do you know what I didn't pick? The new High Elves.
The Realm Lords.
The Luminous, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, those are good. My pick is Triumph of St. Catherine.
Oof.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Not bad.
You talk about the diorama kind of look to it. Definitely a thing.
More than one model. I mean, again, there's no criticism. It's a single kit. I guess we should have said kit. But for me, that model is, I mean, it brings its own snacks. You could break it apart to be like 5 different character models in your army if you wanted to. It's got so much modularity, like dual purpose and stuff in it.
I can't pick. So the only reason I wouldn't pick something like that for me is because I can't pick things that I think I'm going to break. Hence, I picked the Titan-sized.
There you go.
Giant ogre thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, those are strong choices, folks. I don't know what we'll let the comments decide.
Can I give a special mention?
Yeah.
The Ogren Slave Gang from Necromunda is also just a chef's kiss. Just mwah.
Yeah, that's the one with the dude wearing the crown and stuff. Is that a Forge World? No, you're talking about the the plastic ones.
Yeah, the plastic ones.
They seem like they're just ripe with bits.
Yeah, they are. I'm a sucker for Ogrins, but those guys are so detailed, and like I've seen people paint them in all sorts of styles, from like super clean to like disgusting. I've seen people like make them Nurgle-fied and everything. So I think that there's lots of potential in that gang.
Yeah, that's a cool release. I like the glass or what I pick, and they've got those, they kind of hang. I don't know if it's hangers on with like allies, and I think the Ogrins fit into that. Yeah,
they're kind of like mercenaries a little bit.
That's one thing I regret doing over this past year is not playing as much Necromunda.
Man, I tell you what, they came out with the Corpse Cult and that whole the Necromunda terrain and everything.
Yep.
And man, they did such a good job. The Corpse Grinders. Like, if there was anything I could go back and redo my Berserkers for my Khorne army, I would absolutely use those models. They look
really?
so good. 100%. I would totally use those Corpse Grinder guys to replace all of my... I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my old school Berserkers with, like, one leg stuck up on their, like, old, 15-year-old model. But, like, those Corpse Grinders look so good. Man, they look so good.
Those might have been from this year.
They were. Yeah, they were absolutely released this year. The Corpse Grinders.
Oh.
Yeah.
That particular release, like the book that went along with it, has some of the most hilarious Necromunda missions. Highly recommend it.
What makes them cool?
I would love to hear why.
Yeah.
Well, because they're all like missions that have to do with cannibals. So like
Awesome.
Fantastic.
the one mission that I had, it was like it was me and my husband and one of our other friends were playing, and the mission was just like these waves of cannibals would come on at the end of every turn. So like you're like, I actually literally can't fight the other people playing this game, because if I do, the cannibals are going to get me. So we actually ended up just like backing into this one piece of terrain and basically like putting all of our dudes like back to back against each other and just blasting away at wave after wave of cannibals. We did make it though, because you just have to make it like 5 turns or something like that, and then if you don't die, then you win. So we won.
Get some credits.
Yeah, it's a good one. But
That
yeah,
sounds
all
neat.
the missions are like a little bit like wacky like that, and really make you sort of like choose, like, do I want to fight like my opponent, or do I actually want to just live?
Yeah, and I guess you don't really have a choice at that point.
Well,
That line has got to be one of my favorites. I can't fight others because the cannibals will get me.
you guys are safe this time, or are you?
You're just lucky the cannibals are here, guys.
I've got this deep burning desire to complete a Necromunda like game table. I've got all the pieces and I'm planning out in my head, but every time that I start to like think today's the day, and I go like trolling for like inspiration, and there's some great groups out there, Facebook groups and Twitter and that kind of stuff. And as soon as I think I've got it figured out what I'm going to do, sure enough, another idea comes by that I don't necessarily have the parts for.
Have you ever used the Yak Tribe website before?
That's for the gang maker and stuff. Yeah.
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 Such great.
No, I've got
resources
gangs. But I'm talking about for terrain, as like every time that I'm like, I'm about to go make the board and I know exactly what I want it to look like. And then, then I'll find something like, there's one little bit. I need whatever the faucet is to plug into that barrel to make the drink container or something. I don't know.
We actually found
this
that
is a real
like,
example, by the way.
Zone Mortalis actually fits up really well with like the Prometheum sort of pipes and stuff like that.
Yep.
They're like on the exact same scale, so you can actually mix those.
Oh yeah, you can actually mix all that stuff. The only thing that you really can't necessarily just mix 1-to-1 is the terrain that came in like the kill team stuff. But but all those pipes and all the sites with, or those kits that had like the big vats and stuff in it, that everything that came out in that release works really well. Yeah, but
they just fit perfect.
I've got some of those old like plastic bulwarks or whatever, the ones that used to fit with the cardboard scenery.
Oh yeah.
That I'm going to get some like corrugated like plastic that looks like tin roof type stuff, and make like a habitat, like a bunch of stacked square apartments, like all not like orderly stacked, like all catty corner stacked and stuff on them.
Yeah.
Out of that, with making a real gritty place. And then this year I made a food truck out of one of the containers.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I think it looks cool.
That's awesome.
But that'll be out front of this habitat. And then
What
of course
does the food truck sell?
Well, I mean, it's stuff to eat. It's like, what is it, Demolition Man, when they're down there? You just eat the meat.
That mission that I told you guys about, it's actually just called Meat with a bunch of exclamation marks after it.
That's beautiful.
It's elegant.
That is.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many people use what's the Chaos Gate piece of terrain?
The Noctilith Crown?
Noctilith Crown. So many people have gotten that and turned it on its side to make that the corpse grinder, like vat of nastiness.
Oh man, it looks so good. Yeah.
So that's going to be on the tile next to it,
I love that one.
You're either living here or you're ground up corpse stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, hopefully. But see, that's where I'm at. But I've got to plan out the 4 sections, and it's in me. I have to get it out, and I'll do that. I'll do that in 2021. That's going to be my hobby resolution, I think, for this year, is getting that scenery finally done.
That's an amazing goal. I would actually like to paint some of my terrain this year, because I have a lot of terrain, but shamefully, I just play with it unpainted.
No, you put it you think it's going to get done eventually, and it will get done eventually, but it's the last thing you do when you sit down. I mean, like today, I actually did some of the grunt work on some of those assault intercessors, where I painted all the cabling in between their armor joints and the shoulder pad rims and that kind of stuff. it's miserable work. Like I'm just like you have to. It's a chore. You just have to get it done, you know. But you still end up doing that other than painting a cool piece of terrain because it makes pew pew noises.
Exactly. Because I can pick up my minis and take them to the store and play on their. Well, I can't right now, but normally I can play on their painted terrain. Nobody's going to see my unpainted stuff, right?
Got pictures for the gram.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to paint my Zone Mortalis stuff.
We'll get in this together. Before the end of this month, it'll be January, about the time people hear this, I will have one section of terrain made for Necromunda.
Oh, that's a lot.
No, just one 12-inch by 12-inch section.
Oh, 12-inch by 12-inch. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's doable. Doable. I just like look at all these orcs that I have to paint, and I'm like, I can't commit to it yet. Can't do it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, orcs are a bit of a slog. Definitely got to.
You're telling me.
Yeah, got to listen to a cool podcast and just jam it out.
We should make that. We should make a version of this podcast that is literally us just talking the most inane crap possible in order to fill up hours simply and specifically for orc players.
Is that not this podcast already?
No, this is for everybody to do that. This is not specific enough.
So you gotta get specific for orcs.
Jeez. And we literally just talk about how cool green is, the color green. Man, green's great, guys.
The best color ever.
Best ever.
I think that like a nice spring green is my favorite shade. How about you guys?
Are you using orc flesh or are you using Wazdaka? You know, like
spice it up a little bit, you know?
What are the Warboss? Warboss, not Wazdaka. I don't know. I just looked over at my shelf of green paint. Like that sounds like it should be a color, though. No, well, we'll get through this. I don't know if this is the hobby resolution part of the show, but yeah, those are strong. I know we come a little bit from the model picks, but those are good contenders. I'd be curious as to where we're wrong, what other people think, and what their choices are.
I'm actually kind of shocked that nobody picked the Void Dragon because it was on my short list too.
Oh man, that one's way up there. If I had to pick one, I'd pick the one. But yeah, the Void Dragon, the redo of the Monolith, the Scorpec Lord from the Indominus set, I really like him too. I mean, the Necron stuff they really came out with.
Red clearly has a preference.
I'm sorry. I know there were other things this year, but availability bias.
Well, look, if the Mephisto model had come out this year, that would have been on my list as well.
Is it a little crazy that I completely forgot the Void Dragon existed? Because I probably would have picked the Void Dragon.
Almost as crazy as you tell me you've never heard of Drit Stewart, but yeah, no, Void Dragon, got it.
Always laying the smackdown on me, Red.
Yeah, do you have the app yet? I'm sorry.
Complete everyone's bingo cards.
Red is going for the throat.
Keep going. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Don't be sorry. Don't stop either. You know.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. You know, there have been a lot of things that have come out this year, and I mean, even with all this stuff and impact to shipping, you know, supply chains and all that stuff, you know, it's still, I mean, hobby-wise, been an okay year.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I divert us a little bit, just talk about the Void Dragon?
Now that we've remembered he exists.
Yeah, thanks. Exactly. Yeah.
So the reason the Void Dragon would have been my pick is because it actually represents something very special in the lore. This is something that we've heard whispers about for well over a decade existing, and we've never had a representation for it or any legitimate story built around it for the entirety of its existence. They made a model for the thing, and now it's just part of the game. It's part of it was always part of the canon. Now it's legitimately part of the game. I think it's a phenomenal thing. If you want to talk about things that I think are of a depth or a thing like a Primarch, like something as important as a Primarch or the Silent King coming back, I think the Void Dragon's right up there.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree that the Silent King and the Void Dragon showing up at the same time is way better than just, you know, one faction getting their, like, you know, poster boy Primarch, for sure.
Ragnar Blackmane.
We're not model shaming here.
No, I'm sorry. Negativity abounds in my part. I'm sorry.
Poor puppies.
I think Ragnar is pretty slick model, though. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's like there's, and the fact that the new model pays so much respect to the old model. I think that's kind of an accomplishment into of itself. Like the belt, almost the exact same down to the hanging tooth kind of thing. Just it's impressive.
It is. I agree.
You guys don't have to pander to my feelings.
No.
So
Gazgul,
I mean, I didn't say
Gazgul
it was
is better.
Impressive as the silent pander, but it is impressive. They did a great job with it.
So Gazgul has definitely got a beefier upgrade though, but I'm a little partial to the greenskins.
So here's a question none of you guys are going to want to answer. You're all going to skirt horrendously. But who did justice to the OG better, the new Mephiston or the new Ragnar?
I feel like I'm biased. I gotta say New Mephiston. I won't.
I know what Paul's going to say.
Well, okay. So I actually think though that the new Mephiston pays more respects to the art.
That's true, actually, isn't it? Because he's not even based off the old model. He's
he is. I mean, he's still
a previous piece of fluff.
Yeah, I mean, he is true to the model. But I think the Ragnar model is a better model than the Mephiston model. The old one, the old Ragnar model.
Okay, the old one
was a better model than the old Mephiston model.
Agreed.
If you ask me, because of the fur and the chains and the that kind of stuff.
Teeny tiny Dracula.
Yeah, but I did like the old Mephiston model, but I think the new Mephiston model is way better than the new Ragnar model.
There it is. What, guys? What year did Baden come out? It was last year, wasn't it? It wasn't. It was 2019, not 2020.
The previous, 2019.
Yeah, cool. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way. I understand.
This year's so long, I think you could have said anything and no one would know if you were right or wrong or not.
Gilliman.
Gilliman was definitely last year. Or the year before. Maybe the year before. Yeah, Gilliman had to be 2018.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Gilliman was mid 8th edition. If not start of 8th edition, actually.
No, it was towards the end of because he came out in the end of 7th.
Oh, true. Yeah, because I remember people playing him in day 1 of 8th edition. We had people playing triple Stormraven Gilliman goodness. Yay!
Man, the good old days. Wave really bringing us up.
Taking a stroll down memory lane of Shell Shock from 5 Stormravens. Good times. Tell you what, let's take a break. Then we'll come back in. We'll talk about things we're working on, what we have been working on, what we're seeing out there right now. We'll talk about some painting tips, what's been coming out like the White Dwarf and stuff. It's still consistently great every month. And we'll be back in a minute.
FTN is brought to you by Discount Games Inc. Please visit them at www.discountgamesinc.com. And don't forget to ask Jay about ways to save even more on your hobby projects.
Hey everybody, we are back. I got Tanya and Adam here.
Hi.
Hello.
And Red.
I was waiting and I was just going to keep going with it. It's all right.
So the White Dwarfs, if you don't have a subscription to White Dwarf, you just pick them up occasionally. I kind of like having a subscription because, it just shows up at your house and you get to kind of see what's in there. And it's something to do perusing. But, you've often heard me talk about there are tons and tons of painting tips in here. They've got the paint splatter section, I think, which is a little bit of expanded paints, but also just scattered throughout the magazine. They will focus on a model and then at least tell you the colors that were used to complete that model, which I find pretty neat. And I want to talk about at least one of them. This is from White Dwarf 454, which was a few issues back. And there's a warband in here from Warcry. They're called the Jade Eye Cypherlords. And this uses a bunch of I don't want to say pale greens, but really light blues, whites, real light skin tone, they're almost like ethereal colors. Pretty neat. And there's a couple different things in here. There's a way to do white. They actually use white and wash it with Colia Green Shade and then layer it back up to use White Scar and then layer it back up with White Scar again. And then a power weapon, Lead Belcher, wash it with that same green shade and then go over it Rune Fang Steel. The way they present this weapon is that they basically there's very little of the Lead Belcher still showing on the weapon when they're done with it. And it's mostly Rune Fang Steel with just this hint of this green energy or power kind of emanating from it. And it's a real subtle effect, but still looks even with this lighter tone miniature, it still stands out to give that just a real, again, a subtle effect. And I thought, if I took nothing from this, maybe a different way to break up a power weapon or a deadly weapon on one of my other characters might be cool, something to do or try.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, I like to pay attention to the different ways GW presents their, painting or production or making of their models. I think as soon as they added, all the different types of paints they've got now, I mean, they've got edge paints, base paints, layer paints, contrast paints, shades, glazes. They've really got a well-rounded system going here. I really like to pay attention to the different things they do. And I don't know about everybody else, but I pay attention to the light colors more than the darker colors. And maybe that's just what I struggle with more. But whenever they're painting like a light blue or a white, I really like that. I really like to pay attention to see what they're doing.
How they bring that white out. Because, look, we could survey 15 different people about how they paint white, and I bet you can get 15 different answers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in this particular one, these are really cool. I mean, I do think they look nice. I don't ever see myself as, right at this point in time, painting these particular models. But I can take something from how this model was painted and apply it to my own, and that's why I find a lot of value in these color breakdowns.
I'm of a similar position. I don't have a subscription myself, but I can't say that I've missed a White Dwarf since it's released. Honestly, I go pick them up from the local store, but I can imagine there's definitely some convenience to having the subscription, but I really, there's a lot of cases where, just like you, Paul, I've opened it up and it's not exactly a model that I myself am necessarily interested in painting. That doesn't say it doesn't look good, and the techniques are definitely something that I want to try and lift and pull off myself. And so that's a key thing, especially, in some of the more recent ones, even with the Necrons. My Necron paint scheme is definitely not the metallic paint scheme that they have, but there's still, how they use the new Tesseract glow stuff and how some of the other models, the glow effects, there's just so much to be taken from the effort that's gone to it. And so I'm with you. There's a lot that I can go for from those.
Well, I'm constantly trying to keep an eagle eye out for, again, I may not be doing that exact same technique or that same model, but I can look at how it was done, like a new way to paint a lens. Like, man, let me tell you what just gets me wound up. Like when I'm watching a tutorial and I see someone and they go to paint an eye lens and they're just like, yeah, you just do that. You just, boop, do it. You didn't stare at it for 15 minutes and psych yourself up. You just poked it with your brush. But how people, because different ways they go about it. Like some people put the dots, on each end of the lens, like a brighter color on either the where the eyeball would be, but on each end of the lens or whatever. Some people shade it with a wash. Some people put a base coat and then a layer paint in a line on it, or there's a bunch of different ways to do it. And I try to pay attention to each one to figure out what may be the easiest one or best way for me the next time I go about it. Even, and that's a situation where I may not be using those colors, but I can use that technique.
Can I explain to you something that is absolutely amazing that my friend does?
Please.
Does he just dot the eyes?
No, he uses a technical paint in a way that is not what it's meant for. So he will paint the lenses, sometimes white, but oftentimes like in a metallic shade. And then he uses blood for the blood god over the entire lens, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's part of what I'm
technical
talking about.
gloss to it, huh? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's got a gloss, and like blood for the blood god is almost like a contrast paint. So it just sort of like settles into like the recesses in the lens, and it just naturally leaves the top of the lens, like the convex part, more of like that metallic or base color that you used underneath. It looks amazing, and it's so simple.
Oh, I may try that. Like you mentioned that Tesseract Vault is like, I saw some people doing that to make slime. They even, because they have Moot Green, which has been the brightest that we've seen. Mm-hmm. And now we have Tesseract Vault, which is even brighter. So you can get even more slimy slime on your like floors and bases and stuff.
I kind of have like a different sort of philosophy when it comes to paint, and I just like to play with the paint. So sometimes that means using technicals or dry paints or, all of the different kinds of paints in ways that they're not intended for. And the only real way that I do things is I just like pick up paint and I slap it on a model and I see what it does. It's like each model's an experiment.
You say not intended for, but the longer that contrast paint exists, we're seeing more and more people do amazing things with them, and that may not be what it was marketed for, but it's just a tool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that like tutorials are awesome, but also just having fun and just trying stuff is also awesome.
Fair enough. If you've already bought this, you've already bought the $7 thing of paint or whatever, you might as well get as many uses as you can out of it.
That's right.
There was an amazing opportunity Tanya had then, which says, "I just like to play with the paint. Sometimes I'll use," and I'm like, "Please say fingers, please say fingers, please say fingers."
I might. I've got all this terrain that I have to paint, so maybe I'll end up using my fingers on it. We'll see.
How cool would it be, like when you're like on some of the flat parts or whatever, just have a big old red handprint. There's a giant bloody handprint.
I mean, that would be a really large piece of terrain, but we'll see. We'll see. If I do end up doing it, I'll make sure to let you guys know.
So the most recent one, the White Dwarf, has the Tome Keepers in it, which is the homegrown chapter that they're focusing on.
Yep.
They have a bit of a Deathwing type look to them, and this is
they're purple and bone, aren't they?
They are bone for their primary armor, and then it's like black and silver or gray or whatever is the shoulder pads.
Sorry.
So, but where I'm going with that is that you could throw out the color of their shoulder pads and stuff, but maybe you get a different way of going about that bone colored armor, from looking at this chapter, if your current recipe wasn't working for you.
I remember one of my first experiences coming back into the hobby from fantasy was playing a game of the Dark Vengeance set, and it was in an FLGS, and the Dark Vengeance set had been painted up by, I don't know, kids mostly. It was just like, oh yep, spray it, Xandri dust, you sharped, wash it, CPR, dry brush it, you sharped your bone. Good to go, boys and girls. Doesn't quite cut it. I suppose when you get more deep into it, depending on what your level of hobby is and what you're aspiring to do. But yeah, I just love picking up new techniques. I love seeing new different ways to use it. I love seeing ways of using contrast paints. Like contrast paint is it's been out for a couple of years, but it's a brand new thing to me because I've barely scratched the surface of what you can do with them.
Yeah, well, that's what we're seeing with a lot of these tutorials, like even like Duncan Rhodes and stuff that he's doing, is that they're showing us different ways to use these contrast paints in a way that is not just slap it on one thick coat type stuff. Now, look, there's a place for that, and it works better on certain things than others. Like Gilliam and Flesh, when did that come out? Gilliam and Flesh, it's amazing.
We'll never clue.
It's up there with, it's Null Oil, Agrax Urshade, Athonian Camo Shade, and Gilliam and Flesh, like talent in a bottle.
But any wash is like liquid talent, though.
Well, but still, a way to make gold look like, I was thinking about, how can I paint the Sisters of Battle without going insane? This is a conversation I've had. I've had this with a person who's, he's an amazing painter and paints like he does. He's the guy that on our site, Colonel Festus, he's on Instagram, and we occasionally paint, we'll republish some of his 4-step things or whatever.
Amazing.
And he can, the detail that he can get on his figures and seemingly very attainable steps is freaking amazing. So if you don't follow him on Instagram, please do, because it's worth it. You might learn something. But he did this Necron in basically contrast paint, and the gold like jewelry and stuff is just contrast paint over silver.
Mm-hmm.
And he said you could maybe try that for your fleur-de-lis and stuff. Like, that sounds exactly what I want to do. Like it looks like all the time in just one brushstroke on the 1,000 fleur-de-lis. Maybe that's what I want to do, and I'm going to try that. But that's why I was talking about this bone armor here on this, because you might have a way of doing it that you don't necessarily like, but you can find some of the ways somebody else did it in a different way, get you the same effect or something that's more easily replicable for you. And that's why I try to keep an eye out for all these tutorials.
All right, Paul, what's your favorite paint? Not wash, not anything, paint, actual paint. What's your favorite?
I think we all
paint?
know the answer to this.
Fist and Red?
It is.
Yeah. Moving on. Tanya?
My favorite paint ever is actually Bold Titanium White by Pro Acryl.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. Sounds interesting.
It's sort of a newer company on the market. But that white, it is beautiful. It is a liquid at all ages. So you could get to the bottom of that bottle and it'll still be a liquid. And the coverage is really nice.
Wonderful. Red.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I want you to try and guess what my favorite is.
Paul, I trolled you. What's Red's favorite?
It's definitely Lead Belcher.
I was going to say it's probably Lead Belcher, isn't it? Is it?
You guys, Blood for the Blood God?
Oh, okay.
Come on.
I was going with layer
sorry.
paint. I wasn't thinking
I'm sorry,
technical.
Red. Yeah, I wasn't thinking technical either.
Yeah, but that works.
I know. I'm sorry.
So for the longest time, my favorite was Mechanicus Standard freaking Grey.
Yes.
Just for its coding potential. I mean, what did...
For its everything potential. I loved the finish. I loved the fact that it had amazing coverage, and it was the best. I found it to be a better base for everything apart over white or black. Doesn't matter what I was painting. I found Mechanicus Standard Grey was better than both.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I was in love with it for a very long time.
Nice.
I agree. It's one of the main colors of my guard army. I've gone through lots of pots of Mechanicus Standard Grey.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't know. It's just got this nice, lovely finish on it that you can, if you just wanted it to be your main color or something, you can just wash and highlight. It looks just fine. I found with the Corax White and the Abaddon Black. Well, firstly, the Abaddon Black you can't do much with. Once it's black, what do? You highlight the black. There's no point in washing the black or glazing the black.
You'd sometimes wash it to knock the finish off, or to match a finish of something else.
Yeah. But then it's not black anymore, is it? You've done something else to it. But I found the white hit and miss, which is funny. I found most white sprays or white base coats, apart from Tamiya flat white through an airbrush, which is my new go-to at the moment because airbrush is a different kettle of fish. But I found that Mechanicus Standard Grey spray or pot, didn't matter. Awesome finish, awesome coverage, beautiful place to work from. Enjoyed it ever since.
That's nice. Yeah, Mephiston Red never does me wrong. Always does exactly. It covers up a lot of mistakes. It's a very forgiving paint.
Once upon a time, someone asked Paul to paint a Salamander's arm, and he was like, I could base coat it green, but probably just going to base coat it red. And then he built it up from red through to green. There's like 17 layers of base paint on this thing. It's a work of art. And I think this guy's probably got that Vulcan on a plinth because it's probably like a rounded shape at the moment. It's not quite very angular. Most details are gone. But underneath all that greatness, Mephiston Red, baby.
When you want to get those red eyes perfect, you have to start from a complete red foundation.
Spray the whole model red. And then those eyes are starting at the right place.
Yep. But again, it's a forgiving color, and that's what I look for because, look, I'm not the most technical painter. I mean, by any stretch, like it takes me a lot. I kind of have to, by force of will, get my models looking the way that I want them to look, and then go back in and just some good touch ups. And I'm working on those 10 intercessors today. And I know that I just had to chug through some of the less exciting parts. So those, rims on the shoulder, eagles and everything, painting them black. And I know that once I get to the touch up stage, then the model might as well, in my eyes, is almost done. Like I can then get it to the bright red that I want it to be, pretty quickly. So, and I wouldn't be able to do that if Mephiston Red was not such an amazing color. That's my love letter to Mephiston Red.
I'm just curious. Do you guys ever branch out from Citadel colors, or are you like strictly like Citadel paints my jam? That's it.
No. So I have Vallejo metals. I really like their different gun metals that they have. Like, well, all sorts of metals, right? Like, it might seem like something really nuanced, but I really do appreciate like different engine colors versus different, there's a lot of things in a machine that can be similar but different.
Is this a brass part or is it a bronze part? Is it stand out? Which one, how would oil look on one of these as opposed to the other? Yeah. Exactly.
And then I also really like Turbo Dork. For a lot of their metallics that they have, and they have some there's one called Afterburner, which is great for like showing scoring or heat marks on metal. It's really good. So that's so I'm not purely Citadel by any means, but I have really appreciated Citadel in the past for sure.
Yeah, I mean I'm primarily Citadel for sure because it's readily available and all the colors behave well with each other.
I'm finding I still use, if I'm not airbrushing, my airbrush base paints are always Tamiya at the moment. It's either matte black or matte white for my base coats and my pre-shades. But then it's usually to Vallejo for my layer paints, no matter what that would be. But yeah, and then back to Citadel for the glazes and the washes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
I just have a variety of paints. I just like to try stuff. If I find something new, I just grab it and try it. But yeah, I was just sort of curious.
Yeah. God, this is helping me get psyched about doing that project. Look, I'm going to hold myself. I'm going to put together that 12-inch by 12-inch section of Necromunda terrain.
Do it.
Yeah, but I don't have the like the tin roof material, but I found a website. I was looking at it today. I'm gonna order some and make those little square apartments. I'm telling you, it's gonna look grisly, and it's gonna.
I look forward to following it.
Yeah, it'll be a fun place to slay. But I built that food truck some time ago, and it's just been sitting by itself. I'm like, oh, I gotta get that on something. It's gonna be fun. But it's an excuse also to play Necromunda, which I'm looking forward to.
I love it.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more 40k in 2021.
Yeah, I'm still so red hot for games. It's ridiculous. How many games are you guys into ninth? I'm under 10 still. I'm 7 games in.
I'm hovering at about 10 solid games, like real games where not tournament stakes, but like where my opponent wanted to win, wanted to try to win.
Yeah.
I have to be like at least 20 games in.
Yeah.
I have like a GT. I did a GT like the weekend after the new edition was released, and then I did like a smaller like 3-round tournament as well, and then like a number of practice games.
So envious.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have a buddy that we work together, so close proximity and whatnot. But we've got a kind of tight knit community that's not a lot of going out of our way, I guess, with all the other concerns going on right now. But we've been able to play an extensive amount of Crusade games and a few smaller events and whatnot. Nothing crazy, nothing bigger. We've still been able to enjoy it as much as I would hope we could, with everything else going on, I think, without being unsafe.
Well, here's to get our various countries, ours hopefully, Red, getting our act together where we can get the safe spot to be able to do this kind of thing, because I'm really looking forward to playing more games.
My husband finally caved to my requests and actually had a game with me on Sunday, so that was really fun. I don't think that I will keep asking him to do it, though, so I don't think he had fun.
What were you playing? You playing your guard or wolves?
No, it was actually my first game with orcs. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. 3 kill tank, baby. I'm going forward with this.
It's such a meme. I love it.
What, a bunch of meganobs and stuff in there? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meganobs inside.
I'm in. All right, sounds good.
On bike. Yep.
Big
it was super fun. Yeah. My husband did not have fun against this list.
Created a feel bad experience, is what you're.
He's not really feeling ninth anyway, but yeah, it was a little bit feel badsy, I think. Yeah.
Oh well. At least the army will look good. He's a great painter, also.
He is a great painter. Yes. I'm looking at his Necrons on the shelf right now, going, man, these look really good.
Too bad I was never going to play him again because you crushed his spirit.
No, he was playing. He was playing Ultra.
Okay.
He was playing Ultra.
Well, that's his problem. He should have played Necrons.
Exactly. Yeah, we might do a Crusade though. I think that might be more his jam. So.
Man, Crusade's really fun.
Crusade. I mean, that's another thing I really would. I mean, but I feel like that needs a bit of a group, to enjoy.
It does. But there's definitely stuff out there. I'm telling you, that stuff. There's tools that I recommended earlier on, like the administratum.net. There's a lot of stuff out there that could really help with some of the bookkeeping stuff that makes it more usable. And so I recommend, if anybody's interested, to look into that stuff, and don't shy away from the Crusade stuff, because it's definitely a part of the game, and it's not just like something that they conveniently added on, I guess.
Yeah. So you think it's fleshed out and stuff? I mean, it seems.
I do.
Yeah, it seemed that way, but again, without doing a super test drive of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's fleshing itself out as more content comes out. These because I got the Necron Beyond the Veil Crusade book and everything, and they're talking about the new Nurgle, Plague Marine Death Guard one that's going to come out and stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. I wouldn't say that it's everybody's got a ton of stuff for the Crusade stuff necessarily, because part of it's based on your codex.
And your codexes, yeah.
Right. But I still think it's good. I appreciate it.
All right.
I know, okay, yes, I have Necrons, but I still think there's a lot, even with like my Chaos Space Marines and my Imperial Guard and everything. I think that there's a lot that goes into it. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it when I can, I don't know, I want to play the games. I want to get through. I want to build new models. I want to really create a bit of a narrative.
Yeah, it's there.
Seems like it takes a lot. That's good. That's good to know. Have you made any built any new characters or a new sergeant or captain or something based off of the play?
Oh yeah. So I mean the and with the Necron stuff, it's really cool. I think I mentioned before, like the Codex, you know, you essentially build in titles and everything, and so my guy, and we've kind of messed around with it a little bit, right? So yes, it is possible for someone, if they really lean into it, to break it, right? Like there's a couple things, but if you're going for this narrative concept and everything, so we've kind of broken it down. You know, the narrative system initially starts out like by power level. There's a way to go to points. We went to points with it, and then also like I have two characters. Technically, I have two characters in my list, but one is like my Necron Overlord if he's on his Catacomb command barge, and then the other character is him if he's off the Catacomb command barge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never run them, you know, at the same time because they're the same person. But I like having, you know, it's cool, the story, the ability to like take them from one to the other, and it's and I've built this character specifically for this. I don't necessarily play him competitively or anything. It's very fun. I enjoy it a lot.
That's the neatest part. I'm really looking forward to doing that. I mean, like I love kit bashing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, and the opportunity for this with the different weapons and how you go into it, you know, so there's some stuff where like, you know, it costs points in the original system of the Crusade to like, okay, if it comes with this gear, you got to pay a point to change the gear out. Well, we kind of go on the line that, you know, if you've got the unit and you're paying the points for the extra gear anyways, instead of just going with power level, like you can change stuff in and out, interchange. Because, you know, what does it take a Space Marine, as we've all read in the books or something, you know, like take a Space Wolf. I mean, he's got 3 storied weapons that have, you know, well, this one he cut off the war boss's head, and this one he killed a Chaos Lord and that kind of stuff. And so we're there's a little more leniency in our group, but again, all of that contributing to this narrative for our group. And I think it's really awesome, and we've had a great time. Man,
that's cool. I'm jealous of both of these experiences. I want to have those experiences as well. We'll get there. That's what's, you know, like if anything, like a new year brings new opportunity, you know, and that's really what I'm focusing on. Like hopefully things get better, or certainly don't get any worse. But I think that we can look to new hobby horizons this year, and some exciting things as far as like events that we know are going to happen. Cool commentary for the things like the Nopen.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it sounds like right now the internet is not cooperating with us, so I guess we should probably go ahead and wrap this up.
Thanks, Adam.
Look, hey, I appreciate Tanya. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and Red, thanks for. I mean, I'm kind of fiending hard for some Crusade and Necromunda type stuff, like a little bit of a narrative, a story driven type game.
Yeah, man. I mean, Necromunda, you know, it's got it baked in as well. And I really would like to get into that myself as well. I really want to get a corpse grinder deal. I've played, you know, so I've played the Necromunda game on the computer, and I've only played a test run of the tabletop Necromunda, but I'm really looking into getting into that as well.
I mean, it could just be that I'm just so thirsty about rolling dice in general. Like, all of this sounds good. So, yeah, like, whatever the table is set for, I'm willing to get there and roll some dice.
Me too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it a lot.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for everyone that is again invited us into their listening schedule and have commented on, you know, our episodes that have been not just about 40k, you know, Prime and what have you.
Really appreciated the feedback for sure.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. And we're going to continue on into this year, and we'll see y'all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Handle the truth.